Hey guys, this is Turok, and in today's video, I'm finally going to be finishing up and catching up on the last chapter of One Piece that came out. I've been just since February, I've been way behind, and I'm finally getting to 145, 1145, and boy, did a lot of shit happen in the last one. We were focusing on the Sun World, and like Saul's trying to stop the kids. The warriors are gathering together and are trying to fight these things that the conjured uh, monsters that the kids are coming from the kids' fears. And we had and we saw the God's Knights a bit more too, and we see that they're just watching this in enjoyment. And so everyone's trying to rally together to stop this whole situation. And the words finally got out too, fortunately, that there are intruders here. Nami tells Jarl, and they get the word out. And and we ended the chapter with seeing that Scopper's come out, and he's going to aid in this stuff because this is like a big emergency. And his son's here too. But the most interesting thing, obviously, is that we saw this structure that Ripley showed it to Franklin, and we saw that Lilith and Bonnie already had found it. That looked like it was a home that's more advanced, that was abandoned thousands of years ago. 3,000 years ago, exactly, Lilith estimates this thing as the age is, suggesting that the giants here had were part of the future lifestyle back then, and where now they got this more medieval look where they're just using wood structures. There's only like the castle there has stone, and they have no electricity and etc. So that was something there that Oda just left off. It was like, God damn it, really? So meanwhile though, and so doing all that, we didn't see what happened with the Straw Hats down in the Underworld, and we're gonna get back to that here today. So first, I'll briefly just go over the cover story again, and what we have just happening in this one is that it kind of feels like this is definitely finishing off. We switch out to Yamato walking away with the sword. What sword was that she had? Was that Kitetsu? The sun? No. There's Nidai, Sandai. Oh, I forget the name. She's got one of the. No, Zoro has the third one, and I forget the name. But we see what's her name? What was her name again? It's Page One's sister. We saw so Yamato had defeated Who's Who had set up some base out here, and then Yamato took him out, and we see Page One is all chained up and beat up, and the sister's holding him and checking, because that's the one thing about her. She's probably one of the most annoying characters to me because of how she treated the Straw Hats, and I went over this stuff briefly, so I'm not gonna rehash that too much, but she does care about her brother. She just has this weird clingy attitude with him, but we just see her holding and hugging him here. What's her name again? Irene? No, she was like that thing she kept saying. Wasn't it something with an I? Just Yulti. That was her. Okay. So she's just holding him here, and we just see Yamato. It looks like she's walking away. Like, okay, my job's done. So I don't know what's going to happen there with Yulti and Page One. I wonder if they'll continue living in Wano now. That'll be an interesting thing to see play out. But I want to go away from that now and go back to the chapter. And now we're back in the Underworld, and we see this dinosaur monster come out, and it's going. We switch to that's Goldberg, and he's facing off against this thing, and Goldberg comes up. So we finally find out the mystery here of his shield. It's got a face on it, and Goldberg looks at it and he's talking to it like, Nash, it's coming, and it got the mask. I think this is gonna be supposed to be like a comedic moment, and it'll be probably better with music in the anime. And Nash, the shield's like, wait, what? What are you doing? And is he holding it? Yeah, he puts it out. Oh, and it like grows in size. It somehow, and so the dinosaur, which is like a kind of like a brachiosaur looking thing, but it's got looks like it's meant to be a carnivore. It tries going at Nash, and Goldberg to eat him, and it strikes right into the shield, and you see Goldberg going now, and then it's the shield that grows to twice his size, like money size, its own size, and as that happens, as that once it's like looks like it's like stalled there for a second, we get the next panels where Zoro and Sanji come out and do a combo attack like they've done before, and they take it out. Zoro like cuts its head off. I don't see what Sanji does here, but it has this attack like Armée de l'air assault. I'm probably pronouncing the French wrong. I don't know. I know they use a lot of French. So Oda uses a lot of stuff like that for the Sanji's attacks. Wait, I'm going the wrong direction. So we go to the next panel, and yes, first of all, yeah, we got this epic shot where Zoro cuts the thing's head off, just like he did with the dragon. This thing looks like it's probably as big as that dragon, or maybe bigger than the artificial one that he killed at Punk Hazard. I always felt a little bad about that, because that thing was just probably something that was just left living there, and wasn't doing anything. But I mean, it was coming after the Straw Hats, so I get it. And the same thing with this. But that dragon one, since it was something that was like one of a kind and made by Vegapunk, I still felt quite a bit bad about how it got killed by Zoro. What's going on over here? Anyways, we go to this scene where Zoro, Sanji, and Goldberg are just standing there looking at it, and it's like Zoro says, "Oh, that looks like it'd be good eating." Oh, one of them does. That's Sanji, and the other one says, "Yeah, that thing's big even compared to giants." And as Goldberg's like, "Indeed, it is. This thing is considered a delicacy. If it'll take a while to carve off all the fat, but then it's great when you. What do you do with it? Alcohol? Maybe something in alcohol. Soak it, maybe." So also I noticed something here. I guess Goldberg is talking with a weird. Is that supposed to be an accent, or has he got like a little lisp going on? Because it says delicacy. It doesn't. It doesn't really say delicacy the way it's written here. And Sanji's like, "Well, we don't have any alcohol here though to cook it, do we?" But then Goldberg's like, "Oh, we got a whole bunch of it in the hunting shed." So they must, because they lived. That's right. They had that castle down here. That's where the Straw Hats first were rode. So they must have. They must be. That was something we haven't brought up in a long time. I know I brought that up a little bit in that chapter. In the first few chapters, when the Straw Hats were escaping Roto's room thing, we saw that there was that bridge and we saw Gerd and Goldberg coming down the bridge from the Sun World to that castle, and we were trying to figure out why they lived down there. Now we understand that everyone else lives up in the Sun World. Maybe other people come down here often too, but the fact that there was a castle there had kind of stood out to me. Make me wonder, maybe they just do the hunting and then they just sell stuff to the people up top, because I don't know if there are a lot of animals. Well, it looked like there's a forest there where where we first saw all the conjured monsters come out from the that were made by Killingham's fruit. So maybe there are animals there to hunt. But it does sound like some of the monstrous things that come down here, like we saw that weird moose thing earlier too, that's considered delicacies to them. So then, wait, who's got this cloak on there? Wait, because now we switch to, Zoro. Zoro then, he looks at the shield and he's like, "Hey Goldberg, what's up with the shield?" So I'm looking at OBS over here. He's like, "What's up with the shield? Is that a devil fruit?" So we saw it's alive, and I don't know if I said this myself, but I saw other people point out, like, okay, it looks like it's a homie made by Big Mom. And indeed it is. And Goldberg confirms this by saying, "Yeah, that shield came to life like that. Years ago, my dad went on an expedition to try and vanquish Big Mom." So let's stop there a second. He mentions his dad. So Big Mom, when these new giant pirates were all kids, just about, what was that? When was that Big Mom flashback? That was over 60 years ago, right? I think Big Mom was about 68 or so. So The uh Big Mom, when she was a kid, she was there with Mother Caramel. Mother Caramel had set up shop probably in this one of these villages, and Big Mom ended up killing Jarl's best buddy, and because she had the hunger pains, and they were doing a special religious fasting, but she couldn't do it. Um, and so the giants kind of exiled her, and she's been they despise her for killing one of their elders, uh, and so this sounds like one of the giants tried to go after Big Mom to get revenge for the death of Jarl. What was it? Jarl? What's the other one's name? I forget. So at some point here, she must have used her soul fruit to turn the shield into a homie. So we don't know anything else about that, but Goldberg's been using it as his own shield, as a weapon. He uses it, and so excuse me. So anyways, we switch to and this is going on too. Sanji Zoro are picking up the neck of the giant dinosaur, and Goldberg's getting the body. So they're planning on bringing this back and cooking it for dinner. And so one of them says to Goldberg, "Oh, so this thing's just like Zeus." And Goldberg is surprised by this. And he's like, "Wait a minute, you guys know about Zeus? He's like one of the most exalted homies." And one of them says, "Well, now he's working. Now he's like part. It says the word manservant to our navigator." So also that's another thing too. So I'm still wondering if that means Big Mom's alive, because there's the homies Zeus and this one that Goldberg has are both able to be alive. So now we switch back to the others, and Loki is telling them what happened to him. And so he told them the story, and one of them, I think it might be Luffy, he's like, "Holy Knights." And so Loki's like saying, "Yes, they showed up here." So he's still beat up here. So we see him there. He's still laying out. Oh, they got him on. Oh, so they got him on logs actually, because they don't have a bed. That looks weird. I don't know how comfortable it'd be. So he's sitting on these. They cut up a bunch of logs into sizes that would be like a foot long if it was a person, something like that. And he's rolled out on that like a bed. And Gerd's still sitting next to him, treating him. And so then it's, I think that's Hyrule saying this. It's like, "Humans from the world government? They're the ones that beat you like this?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I'm telling you." And then Haruden comes to the conclusion, "Oh, they must have came back for revenge because when you were rampaging on the sea." And he's like, "Don't be stupid. It's not that simple." Uh, and he's just saying it because he's confident. He's like, "If I was able to run into them when I was out there, I'd be king of the world right now." Saying, and so he's still implying like, "Yeah, those guys only beat me up because I was chained up," and so he never got to anywhere near Marijois. He's trying to say too, but maybe he wanted to. Uh, and Luffy's sitting there listening to this. What is he sitting on? He's sitting somewhere there near Loki, and he's like, "Knights from the girl government." He's just pondering this, and but now we switch back to Goldberg, and he's like, "Hey guys, look what we got." So he not switch back. He's coming out of the woods carrying the body. Like, "Look what we got for dinner." Uh, yeah, he is talking with some kind of lisp or something. So Zoro's like, "Hey, I got the killing blow too." And then Sanji though has to make a little jab here. Oh, I'm sick of this sometimes. He's like, "Yeah, you should have been there. I never seen a graceful soaring broccoli." So he's always making jokes about Zoro's hair color, usually calling him Mosshead. And uh, and then we start seeing them fight there in the corner. And then we just get Goldberg talking to Sevenson. He's coming back. He's collecting wood to cook up the meal. And Goldberg's like, "Oh, you got enough trees?" "Yep. I got a nice pile going. Thanks for hunting that thing down." Uh, and so we get a little panel here where they show the smoke cooking as it's being cooked. And Wait, who is the cook on there? Is that Goldberg? Because Roto's the navigator. Uh, I gotta check. Hold on. I had to say that I went and got the screenshots the other day of them because these guys were introduced back a while back at where was that? Was that during the end? I forget what where is that? No. Oh crap! Where'd that go? Oh, right here. Let's see. Who is who here, guys? So, come on. Just open up. What the fuck? Why does it do that, you stupid app? Okay, Stevenson. Stanson? Stevenson. He's the shipwright. Yep. Roto's the navigator. Oh, yeah. Goldberg's the cook. Right. He is the cook. I was just checking which one was a shipwright and which one isn't. So Goldberg's cooking it up, and he's saying, "Oh, it's almost ready." And I think this is supposed to be Luffy. He's like, "Oh, so yummy! Smells so good." And the Goldberg's reprimanded, like, "This isn't just for you, because Luffy loves meat." So they're trying to cook this up. They're also trying to cook for everyone, I assume. But then they're trying to help Loki recover. And in the next panel, Luffy's got the sticks with a big lump of it, and he swings it into Loki's face. And he's like, "Eat up, Loki. I need you to get better." But it's still like hot off the fire. And Loki's like, "Ah, you're burning me. Get off." Well, he can't do it with his hands. He's still chained down. But he's probably like this, like, "Ah, stop it. Stop it." And then Gerd's still right there. And she's like, "Luffy, please be careful with his wounds." And we get the next panel, Loki yelling out, like, "Are you trying to kill me?" And Luffy's just kind of like proud of himself, like, "Oh, you're looking better already." And he's like, "You gotta," and then he continues by saying, "You gotta eat to recover, you know." So we saw a panel next where he's just chewing his food up. And like, this is hard to do while I'm laying down. Can you at least sit me up first so I'm sitting up and I can chew better? Oh god, so there's this whole little shit going on. He starts choking on the meat because he's lying down. And Luffy's like, "Oh no, he's choking. I'll bring you something to drink." And he comes back with a hot thing of soup. And he's holding it in like a mug or something. And like Loki's like, "No." Well, again, and he can't move his hands, but he's freaking out as much as he can. Like, "Get that away from me! I don't want you burning my face." And there's a whole, it off screens a bit. Luffy was running with this huge cup so fast that he did spill some of it on Loki apparently. And he's like, "Ah, stop it!" And you see the splash sound. And now Gerd's like, "Oh, now he's got more burns and wounds than before. You're not helping." And Loki's like, "Get that menace away from me! Stop this!" Um, what's going on there? Actually, what happened here too. I guess the joke is Luffy's out. The first we see Luffy apologizing, but then Gerd's like, "Ah, it's okay. He kind of deserves it. He's an asshole." Um, okay, yeah, I guess so. And then so Sanji, we switch to Sanji and Zoro, and Sanji's like, "What did this guy do that the Giants hate him so much?" And then Zoro just talks about what he said before, like, "Oh, he's a liar, and he was making a promise in bad faith with Luffy about where to find Shanks." Um, and Loki's like, I wasn't lying about that." Oh, okay, they did set him up actually. I didn't even catch it in this panel. They put up a bunch of logs behind him so he can kind of like sit up partially, kind of, and he's chewing. They got a leg of meat in front of on his chest so he can chew from it because they don't want to like let his hand be free. Um, and he's like, "I wasn't lying about where Shanks is." And one of them says, "Well, we'll be the judge of that. Go on and tell us." I think that's probably supposed to be Zoro. Yeah, probably. It looks like Zoro. And says, "Why should I tell you anything? You haven't helped out your end of the bargain." And meanwhile, when it's happening too, we do get a good shot. I like it. We see a huge shot of a big fire, and Goldberg's like managing the meal. He's got these two grill things sitting up over the fire. One has a big thing of meat, and the other has these giant pots where he must be making that soup. So he's like, so we switch back to Loki here saying like, well, you really want to meet Red Hair that badly, huh? I suppose I understand how it feels to idolize someone like that. I was once kind of like that. I'm a pirate you just met when you were a lad. He didn't say it the other way. And we switched to Hyrule, and he's like thinking about this. So we like Hyrule probably knows what this means. So we're gonna get a neat little flashback here actually, and it's like, and then Luffy's like, "Oh, you sound like you feel the same way about someone." And he's like, "Yes, I did once." And it pains me that I was only a boy at the time. Meaning like so this is the same thing Colin did. We're having the same moment again, the Luffy moment with Shanks, the Colin when he talked to Shanks. So we get a couple panels here. And we go back to when Loki's a kid and he's coming in the door and he says to someone, "Take me with you." And then we only get the silhouette, but we can figure out who this is. But I'm going to hold off a sec. And he says, "I didn't come here." This person responds, "I didn't come here to meet a whelp like you. Stop making me repeat myself." And then he goes, then Loki goes, "Well, I want you to fight me and I'll show you how strong I am." And then we see the silhouette. The guy's like, "Really? You want to fight me?" And then we go into the next panel and we see Loki's little Loki. And again, this is little Loki because when he comes in, the first panel shows him you can see some other humans in this room. And Loki's only a little kid. He's like maybe 15 feet tall at this point. So I don't know. He could be like 7 or 8 or so. But the next panel, that at the end of this little flashback, little Loki's all beat up. And we see 2 silhouettes walking away. And the first one says, "You don't have to use a blade on the kid." So this is someone else talking to the captain, this person that Loki wanted to join. And the other person goes, "Shut up, Newgate." And we walk, that's all we get. But what it clearly is showing is that this was Rox Zebek visiting Elbath like 50 years ago, probably, or something like that. Let's see, that could have been about 50 years ago, 40, 50 years ago. And that's Whitebeard is there with him in that room at the time. And you can see that. You see a really tall silhouette Whitebeard, and you can see his mustache there. And so the last thing we get there, we go back to the present though, and Loki's just like lamenting this down. He's like, "I was born in the wrong era." So we have to stop there a second. Holy shit. So he met Rox when he was little. Rox came here for something. Maybe it's just, so the thing is, what would Rox be here for? Because we know that Rox, from the little we do know, he kind of like he would be traveling on with purpose. He doesn't seem like he's moseying around randomly, kind of like the Straw Hats often are doing, or even as we saw Whitebeard was doing later on his own. Like when what is that? So yeah, when Whitebeard went to Wano, that was like an accident. He was like, "What's this waterfall here that we went up, and how did we and we crashed here?" So the thing with Zebek is, I'm thinking, did he like come there to? Was he there to talk to Harold, maybe get the Giants to be on his side? Like, was he trying to... we have so many questions about Zebek, and I'm still kind of on this loose theory that maybe he was how do I put this? That he was a celestial dragon or something like that, and he knew about Im-sama, and because he just seems very mysterious and more like powerful in a way where it's like it's not normal compared to other, even Whitebeard in that, like he had some kind of supernatural stuff going on. But then so he came there. I'm thinking, did he come to find out about Harold's devil fruit that they have or something? Anyway, so the other thing too then is that Loki was clearly inspired by him and wanting to join up part of the crew because he was a little bastard himself that wants to go out and rule the world. Now, maybe that's the thing too. Maybe that's his dream now. Is right. That would make sense. So Zebek got defeated 38 years ago. Right. So this would have to be a little over 40 years ago, like I said. And then that might have been Loki's dream. Well, to think, well, I'll go out there and this guy I looked up to, and I'll someday become the king of the world. Now I'm destined to do this. I'm the son of the great Harold. I'm the most powerful giant, and he's bigger and better than others because he's got the Oris blood flowing through him, so he might have really been that confident with that way too. And it's just, damn, yeah, there's something going on there. Now it just, I wish, again, we don't, that's actually, this is the first time we really get like a normal eye of Zevik. We just see his eyeball look back when he accepted Loki's duel, but we don't see anything else. We see his hair a little bit, but we can't really see his face. So we're really not sure what he could look like other than that. But that's where we end that bit of conversation now. And now we go back to the Great Eric, and we see Dory and Bragi and Scopper fighting off these Draugr and the other apparition things that are there. They're flying through the forest, and they're like, the things are like coming at them. And so Dory and Bragi are like, they're all like fighting stuff and like thinking like, oh, these Draugrs are annoying. And it's like, and there's so many, and Bragi's like, there's all these ghosts too. Just the kind of things kids would be afraid of. And they're coming at him, and they're like, the Great Eric is also like running through some of them. They must have it like going, speeding up somehow, and it's knocking back some of these things. Shit, where was I? Sorry to take this. This is just taking so long. So we switch here. So we're switching here. We're seeing we get to see some of Scopper in action too. So these things come. We get this one giant thing coming at the ship, and the one that has like it looks like a big version of a giant. It's like dressed. It's a warrior like giant look, but it's really huge. And then we Scopper comes up behind, and he's like twirling his axes, and he's like, "I'll take this one." And he like just spins his weapons around. I don't know if he like did the Hagi attack, but it does like the whole thing just like splits in half. The thing, they just have no chance against these guys. But among Dory, Bragi, and Scopper, and then it looks like the others are fighting very well too. Really, these their subordinates are all kicking ass here basically, and we get to and so as these things are falling down and stuff, Scopper says, "Good thing these things are only based on a child's imagination. Can you imagine how strong it would be if the kids knew about the real thing?" And one of the other giants say like, "Oh, I'd rather not find out about that." And so Scopper's like, "There are 3 more of them. A trio of abnormal voices. I can tell where they are." Actually, I'm a little confused by this. I'm wondering if he was mentioning like he feels what the God's Knights are themselves, or he just looking like the 3 more of those apparitions in this area. And then this final shot with Scopper's like, he's kind of like saying to himself, pondering, "Oh God, if Alba now isn't safe anymore, then truly the end of days are coming." So he's really like just thinking, "Oh, this is shit starting to get real out in the world beyond here." So we're left with that thought here, and we switch now to the fire team that we saw before, and now they're out there successfully got hoses, and they're pouring. They're down below actually. They're shooting water up at this fire, and this fire's just gotten so out of control. They're already thinking, "What are we gonna do? This is getting a little out of hand already. I don't think we got enough water here to stop them." And it's neat too what they're doing. I think if I understand this, that's why they're sitting into this shallow area of the sea clouds, and their hoses are connected to a machine that's drawing water vapors from the sea clouds to create and then they're pressurizing it through the hoses and that to stop the fires. But in this way, though, they essentially have an almost endless supply of water there to keep pouring at it. But they're getting concerned about that. So we switched to Saul, and he's like, "Guys, I'm so glad you're here, but you gotta hurry up. The kids are coming." And we switched. What we see here is he took out the Fenrir wolf easily. He's standing on top of it, and it's there passed out with a big bump on its head. So the other giant's like, "We're doing the best we can. This is all the pressure we can push out at once." And the thing is, too, there's only 3 of them here that they show. There might have been more on that ship, but they're doing what they can. And so we get a shot of the kids. We see that they're getting close there. So let's see. Wait. So Saul and the wolf are on that branch. They're about hundreds of feet because he's standing on it. You can see they're not too far from where the fire is, basically. And we switch to a shot of the kids. Yeah, we can see them kind of getting close to the fire. I'll try to look in that wide shot. And he's like, "Come on, guys, please, you gotta do more somehow. The kids are so close." Oh wait, I can see them now. So they're right there in that line ahead of where Saul is, between him and the fire, and they're getting real close. And as this is happening, we go back to Summers and Gunko, and Summers is like, "Ooh, look at that, Gunko, they're almost there. What happens? What will happen? We gotta wait and see, won't we?" And Gunko just speaks very like plain, like they'll probably wake up from the heat, wail and cry for the parents, and burn. And then they'll be consumed by the burn, I assume. And Summers kind of like said, we don't see his face, but Summers like he's saying, "Oh, how about that? That's finally a little emotion out of you." What is that? Oh, so we switch to some. We see, is that Jimbei? Yeah, Jimbei out of nowhere comes and saves the day, just like he did at Wano. He's in the sea clouds nearby, and he's swirling them up. He's doing something that almost looks like he's doing something with his hand, like a martial art movement. And it's very dramatic here. We keep going to we see other warriors nearby saying, "What's wrong? It's not going out." And then we see the firefighters. So everyone's like getting desperate. The kids are so close. Stop it. And Saul, and he's running after him, like now catching up after he took care of that wolf. He's like, "Stop, children." And we see Summers laughing his ass off. And at the next shot, we see a giant plume of water come out. And it's a giant, probably even bigger than what the hoses were. And the next shot goes back to the Straw Hats, and the other's like, first the Jinbei's like, "There, that should be enough to do it." And oh, that's right, because he was with the others. The others are nearby, and like, "Here, let's get back over here, Jinbei." So, and we see him jump on the ship, and the other's like, "Yay, Jinbei, you did it!" The ship, as the ship's pulling up, we see Connor and the others look back, Colin, and we see other people looking in awe, like, "What the hell? How did someone do that?" By the way, that was the name of this chapter, Fire in Branch 8, Section whatever, here. And so we get this shot. We get the firefighters like amazed at the plume of water he sent. We see Saul. He's like breaking down because he was so worried the kids were going to get hurt. And we switch to Nami and Chopper, and they're like hugging each other like, "Yay, they're saved." And we get this announcement: the wildfire in Forest Sector 2, Branch 8 has been put out. Dorian Broggy we're watching too. And so the kids, someone said, they're like, "Oh, that was a close one, guys. Well, we believed in you." But then someone's pointing out, "But the kids are safe, but look, they're still walking off." And there's some of these people are still cheering on the firefighters, and they're like, "Oh, there are guardians of Elbath." One of the guys like, "Well, it really wasn't us, but at least they're safe." And then they're like, "Okay, yeah, well, whatever happened, we're just glad the kids are okay." And Robin and Chopper are talking, and Chopper's like, "Yeah, did you see that, Robin?" And she's like, "Yep, that must have been Jinbei." So last panel now, last page. We go back to Colin and the other Straw Hats, and Colin's saying, "Jinbei, that was so cool. Thank you so much for saving the kids." And he's like, "Oh, it was nothing." And he's like, "I know those kids all treat me nicely, but I didn't want them to get hurt. They're still my friends." And then Robin's like, "Oh, you're such a nice kid, Robin. We're going to find a way to save them together." And he's like, "Yeah, let's do it." But in the last panel, we see that Gonko saw them, and she jumps on their ship, and she's like, and she just kind of just menacingly there, and her power starts. She starts wrapping this thing around her like a snake almost, and she's like, "Oh, so the school isn't the only place you can find these uppity kids." And then the others, people are all looking at her like, "Who the hell is that?" Especially like Colin. He's like, "What in the world?" And the others are like looking at her too, and it just ends with her staring at them kind of menacingly there, and holy shit. So now these guys are going to be the ones having to face her first. So who's there? We got Brooke and Jimbei. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. So holy shit. So we got a lot of stuff in this chapter. I know I made this, I went through this faster than the last one, but jeezy, crazy did we get. Pinky, go back to sleep, bud. My male cat wants to go out, but he just came back from the vet, so we need to let him rest. Holy crap, a lot happened here again. Obviously, the big thing was this stuff with Zebek. Like, what the hell was he doing in Elbath years ago? And, why? So many questions. My brain's just flooding now. So, we got some of this. So basically, we're just at a point now where the situation is kind of under control, but at the same time, now it's the God's Night. It looks like the fighting is going to get serious now with the guard, because now we got to face the God's Night, because now the Dory Brog and the others stopped the Draugr and the other apparitions, and then they saved the kids from the fire. But then the thing too is those Scopper and Dorian Bragi are right there. So I'm hoping that Scopper is going to end up, we'll get to see more of his fighting soon against these God's Knights, or one of them. Probably, I'm thinking him and, I bet they'll have him and Scopper and Summers fight at some point. Also, it's nice to see now that the situation is understood by these people. I was wondering how long it was going to take for everyone to realize that something else is going on here. Like the God's Knights. I was wondering how long the God's Knights were going to hang out in the background. But since Nami and the others ended up talking to those guards and were able to get them to tell what they saw, this is now getting unveiled faster than I thought it would. So now it's just like. And then we got that mystery too. What happened to this father of Goldberg that went after Big Mom years ago? That's all we ever get is he went after Big Mom. It doesn't say whether he died from this. Obviously, he wouldn't have didn't succeed in vanquishing Big Mom, at least the way that is phrased, because Big Mom was still alive up until she might be dead now. So we have no other information on that. And the only other thing I have a question then too is, I don't think Loki explained to him. I wonder if Loki explained to him like, hey, there was one of those knights that looked like Shanks. I don't know, but it couldn't have been him because he didn't have the scars. So he must have a brother. It's like Loki would be smart enough to piece that together. And I'm wondering if anything else will come of that kind of conversation in this arc, or we'll just wait until a later point to figure that out. Another thing too, I'm still wondering what's up with Loki's eyes, because in here he's still like, when he's all bandaged up everywhere else, he was already had these bandages covering his eyes since we first met him like 20 chapters ago. Oh, less than that now, really. How many? This started in 27. That was like 15 chapters ago or so. We met him and saw the eyes, and so we don't know anything about that. And also, one other thing, I was wondering what Haruden was thinking. They showed Haruden in one panel here, but he didn't. He was just bringing up that when he was talking about the story of how he met Rox, we didn't see Haruden comment anything about that, about what he might have thought of Rox back then, or what he perceived of me if he saw Rox, and whatever he might have observed about Haruden would have observed about Rox and what kind of person he is. That's something. Too, the Straw Hats don't know anything about Rox. We heard about this story through Sengoku, shoot, where was I now? Hold on.